You're listening to Straight No Chaser, the only show to quench your talk radio thirst. Some programs dilute the issues. We only serve the hard stuff. Old school, new school. Grab a glass and welcome your hosts, the Chief, MBZ, and Pastor C.
Holy.
Oh my God!
Good evening. And that was the sound from inside of Sojourner Douglas High School last year. That is the sound that no child should ever have to hear in school. That is a phone call no parent should ever receive. Imagine getting that call. Mom, Dad, they're shooting in the cafeteria. Or worse, Mom, Dad, Tommy is lying in the hallway and he's not moving. The 3 R's of school life used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now it's reading, writing, and run for your life. Welcome, listeners, to Straight No Chaser, where we never dilute the issues. And of course, we always serve the hard stuff. I am the Chief, and as always, I'm joined by Pastor C.
Hey, Chief.
And your girl, Ambeezy.
Hello.
And of course, we have in the background Money Marvin, our amazing engineer. And of course, school violence happens in some form every day across the country. It could be in the form of a simple shove. It can be tripping someone in the lunchroom, a schoolyard fight, or, worst of all, an active shooter incident. But regardless of the form it takes, running for your life should not be an expected normal part of the learning experience, no matter what school you go to, no matter what city you're in. Unfortunately, active shooter incidents, including Columbine, Virginia Tech, Newtown, Sojourner Douglas, and others, have impacted the lives of those communities forever. Safe schools and colleges are a must that everyone agrees upon, regardless of the political, religious, social backgrounds of the people who are discussing the issue. Unfortunately, like every other critical issue facing our great nation right now, we can't seem to agree on how to fix the problem. Some recommend mental health screenings. Some recommend metal detectors. Some recommend see-through book bags. Some recommend arming teachers. And wait for it, Pastor C and Ambeezy. Some recommend keeping large rocks in the schools to throw at the assailants. So students and staff now practice active scenarios as part of the school day. So now instead of focusing on learning your English, how to conjugate subject and verbs, learning about the history of the United States, or trying to solve the value of pi, on top of all those other things that students have to learn, now they're trying to learn to run, hide, and fight. That's where we are right now. That's where we are. That is our reality. So, Pastor C, you have an elementary age child, and you also have a college student.
Yes.
And Ambeezy, you are a college student. How do we fix this?
Well, before I answer, let me remind our audience to call us at any time at 702-425-7789 or live chat with us during the show. So I just want to start by saying this. You know, when I was in high school, that is when the school shootings started to become a big issue. It was after, I forget the big shooting that happened in 2015. Isn't that scary? That, like, you know, it's such like a commonality now. It's like, okay, which school shooting was that? But anyways,
Right.
I remember I went to Bishop Gorman, which is a huge school out here, and after school, they gave out permission slips to be a part of an active shooter drill. And I just remember kids who did the drill were like, wow, this was actually kind of traumatizing. Like, this is just a drill, and it was crazy. And basically what they did was they had people walking around different parts of the school, and they said that, you know, at a certain time, they weren't going to say when, they would have basically actors come in and act as school shooters. And it was in order to, I guess the law enforcement out here used it as training so that they could kind of get a better handle on how they would handle it. And, you know, it's just really astonishing because from then to now, they did that training because it was like a what if, like, okay, like that was scary. So if this were to ever happen, this is what we would do. But now it's almost so common that it went from having these active school shootings or shooter drills to now selling bulletproof backpacks, which were actually sold out in February after the Stoneman Douglas shooting. And stuff like that. And so, you know, I always say all the time, I'm not sure if the solution is to train how to survive these things. I think we have to kind of look at the root of it, and that is, you know, there are some kids that grow up and, you know, when we're teenagers, we always go through those hormonal changes where we get attitudes, everything sucks, we hate everybody, this, that, and the third. But there are always a few that show a little bit more angst. And so I really don't think the solution is taking a look at the school safety issue. I think that the solution is really taking a look into the mental health of these kids and not dismissing them to be turbulent teenagers. Because even if you look at Nicholas Cruz, who was the kid that was the shooter for the Douglas High School incident, he was off. And I'm not gonna say that, you know, we don't all run into these sort of off-putting, eccentric people, but he was really one of these people who took a real pride in seeing pain and made this chilling video before he even did the shooting, talking about how he is no one and he really doesn't care and he can't wait to see people die. There's a difference between the girl who's like, oh my god, I hate my life, my prom dress doesn't fit, and I love watching people die, and I'm gonna post AK-47s and assault rifles on my Instagram. Like, I really think that we can't stop paying attention to these people. Like, I think, even especially when we're in high school, you know, I go to high school and I could name at least 5 kids that I went to school with that were a little suspect, and unfortunately that's where it stopped. Nobody ever really said, oh, I wonder what's going on with them, like maybe we should look at some mental health accommodations. It was just like, oh yeah, that kid is weird, like watch your back, which is unfortunate.
Let me ask you a couple of questions from the college perspective. And now you're in college right now. Is that something that college students pay attention to? Do they pay attention to active shooter possibilities?
I don't think that they do as much as they do now on the high school level, only because college, the social dynamic of college is already a lot different, in the sense that in college it's really a choice to be a part of the community. You don't have the same desire even to really pay attention to everybody who's outside of your friend group. Like, if you have your own little group of friends, or if you play a sport, or if you're in a sorority or a frat in college, you don't really care what's going on with the guy over there, because it's like, we're grown, I don't know you, like I could care less. Now, if you have a class with that person and they're acting a little weird, again, you really might not even pay attention unless you have a project to do with them or something like that. So I think it's actually a little bit more alarming on the collegiate level because people don't really take the time to dig into people's personal lives like that if they're not close to them.
Sure.
And in college, it's like, I mean, in high school, if they see that you're a loner, they're going to at least try to make you friends. They're going to try to bring student council people in to be like, hey, this kid is always sitting by himself at lunch. Like, go reach out. But nobody's going to do that in college.
So, Pastor C, you have babies in both situations. Mm-hmm. And from the elementary school perspective, Pastor C, what are your concerns about the active shooter possibilities with the caveat we all remember Newtown. Right. Now, who would have thought that someone would have come into an elementary school and killed that many elementary age babies?
Wow. Right. They were kindergarten babies.
Absolutely. So, Pastor C, kind of give me your thoughts on that whole situation.
Well, the fact that we're having this conversation and we are investigating this topic is very disheartening, that our world has come into a season where we're actually protecting ourselves from active shooters in a learning environment. And so I have a 7-year-old, and of course she's in the parochial school system, but no one is safe, and we can do exactly what we can, protect our children and take them through drills, and we can pray, and we're just hoping that these things will not take place. And so as a parent, you know, I guess you're not supposed to be afraid, but you're somewhat fearful that when you let your child go to school or you drop them off and you kiss them on the cheek and they have their lunch box and their book bag and they go into school, that you're hoping to come back to pick them up at 2:30 and they're healthy and they're vibrant and they're ready to jump in the vehicle and go home and tell you about their day. I think it is a very sad day and time that we're actually spending time talking about school safety. When I was coming up, the worst thing that I saw was a 3:30 fight, you know, outside in the parking lot. Two young people have a disagreement and they will fight, you know, you get suspended, and that was that. And so in this day and time, I truly believe that it is very serious. And young people need more attention in this hour so that we could really find out what's going on with them at an early stage in their life, so that what they're dealing with would not push them to this act of violence where they're taking lives. Now, I will say this. I truly believe that a lot of young people in times past and even currently, Chief, had social issues. Mm-hmm. They had psychological dysfunctions, if you will. They had mental illnesses. It's just that they expressed it in a different way.
Yes.
Now today, you can get a gun almost at the grocery store. And so how young people are expressing themselves is very different and yet more violent. And as a parent, you know, I am concerned. I do pray for my children, and I'm hoping that schools are going through the proper training to make sure that they have defensive training for the children to protect themselves or to get into the line of safety so that they would not become victim to such violence. But honestly, Mbeezy and Chief, it is disheartening for us to literally be talking about school safety, because it produces a sense of fear in young people, and the environments are not conducive for learning when you have to be concerned about if somebody is going to come into school and harm you while you're reading your story for story time, or while you're talking about math and doing problems. You know, they have drills now to make sure that our children can run to safety. And so,
well, let me ask you this, Pastor C. Mm-hmm. What have the school officials at your daughter's school, the one that's in kindergarten, I believe, what have they said to you this year about their preparation for active shooter? Was that a part of that first parent night discussion?
you know what? It was not. And she's in second grade. And
Wow.
yeah,
Wow, she's really grown up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tell her don't
Pray
hurt
for
me.
us. Pray for us. You know, a 16-year-old second grader. Anyway,
How about that?
you know, we didn't talk about those